So the ground slab for this structure is going to be an architectural floor, and that is accessed under architecture tab. So if you click on the architecture tab, here under floor, there is this drop down arrow here, and that allows you to create 4 types of floors. We have a floor architectural one, you have a floor structural, you have floor by face, and floor by slab edge. In this case, we want to create an architectural floor. So I'll click on floor architectural, and what that does is it's going to activate this modify tab, which allows us to create a floor boundary. And I want us to create this floor boundary using a line. So click on this line, that gets active, and you have the external outline of this building. That is where we are going to have the boundary for this floor. So just follow along with the external outline of the building, and we are going to create the floor boundary like this. Make sure you pick all the necessary points well until you get back to where you had started, and the boundary is going to get complete. So when that boundary is put in place, before we accept that floor to be formed, we need to go to the properties panel here, and you can see we have a generic floor of 400 millimeters selected. If you click on the drop down, you'll have other types here, such as 160 millimeter concrete with metal deck. We have wood hoist. So I think these are not the ones that I want to use, but in this case you can click on edit type here, where you have this generic 400 mm floor. Click on duplicate, so that maybe you can create 150 millimeter concrete floor. So click OK. Then under structure, you'll have the center here as 150. Let's say 150. Then we can insert this finish at the top here, which we can say, let's say we are going to use wood, softwood or timber. Let's say oak flooring of like 25 mm going to be there. So at the bottom we don't have anything. So this slab total, let's say to put here concrete. Let's have concrete material there as cast in place gray concrete. So the total thickness of this floor is going to be 150 plus 25 millimeter. That is going to be 175 mm. So if I click on OK and click OK, you'll see here under the properties panel, our 150 mm concrete floor has been selected for our project. So now, because we are done with putting in place those parameters, all you can do is where we have this at the top here where we have this red X for cancelling the editing mode, and we have a green tick here for finishing editing mode. I want you to click on finish editing mode, and you will see our floor has been created. So if you click away, that's going to get lost. So for us to be able to appreciate how this looks, we can go back to the 3D window here and try to orbit. If you orbit, you'll see from the bottom of this building, we have a floor in place. You can change how this model looks by changing the details and the visual style, which in this case I'm going to have a shaded model, so that if you take a closer look at the project, this is going to be how it looks now in 3D. So you're able now to see the various colors and everything. Like that is the exterior part, the interior part of our building. So that is our model in 3D. So the slab, rather the floor, is now in place. Let's go back to the ground floor again, and in this case we want to create the ceiling. So on the project browser, under floor plans, here we have the ceiling level. Click on the ceiling level, and this is going to be activated. This is how the ceiling level looks like, and we want to be able to model in place a ceiling for every room, because what happens is that ceiling is not going to be cutting through the walls. It's going to be constrained inside the wall boundaries that we have created here. So still that one is also accessible under the architecture tab, and here we have ceiling. So if you click on that, you have the ceiling selected in place, and what we want to do is to sketch the outline of the ceiling. So this, as we're being told here, creates a ceiling based on selected walls or sketched lines. So we open a ceiling plan to sketch a ceiling, and you can sketch a ceiling by picking walls using the sketching tools or using the automatic ceiling tool. You sketch a specified distance above the level in which it resides. In the ceiling includes a grid, and the grid is centered in the room. So this is basically Autodesk trying to explain to us how to come up with a ceiling using this sketch mode. So I can select sketch there, and it's going to allow me to be able to create a ceiling boundary the same way we did with the floor. And one thing I want you to note is here under ceiling properties, we have a level selected as ceiling level. So because we are putting this under the ceiling level, we had created a ceiling level. We have offset height here as 2600. I want to change this to 0 because I want this to appear just right at the level that we have created. And then this is a compound ceiling of 600 by 1200 mm grid. If you try to look at the structure, you find that we have a ceiling tile and a structure at the top. I'm not interested in changing that as at now, but if you click on OK, you can be able to sketch the boundary lines for the ceilings in each room. And I have decided to start with this room, which in this case, that is where we are going to have our ceiling, like that. I'll come back to this room here, sketch the ceiling boundary the same way I have done with the first room, because ceiling is going to get to go to the inside part of the building, constrained by the wall boundaries. Follow along and make sure that you are doing it correctly. So one is going to have a ceiling spanning all that full distance. And the last point where we have the passage, here we are also going to have a ceiling. And I've sketched the outline like that. So once you have the various ceiling boundaries created, all you have to do for you to place that ceiling now is to click on finish editing mode, and you have your ceiling in place. We can go to the 3D view here. Try to look at how this now looks in a three-dimensional view, and you can see we have our ceiling in place. That's okay. Let's go back to ground floor again, and in this case, because we've created our floor with our ceiling in place, I want us now to create the roof so that we have our model complete. So in this case, roof is going to be an architectural roof, because if we have a structural engineer in our project, is going to come up with the structural components of the roof structure and everything. So in this case, we are going to model a architectural roof, accessible and architecture. And then roof, we have options for. Here we have the roof. We have options for creating roof by footprint. We have options for creating roof by extrusion. We have roof by face, roof soffit. These are components. We have roof fascia and the roof gutter. In my case, I want to create roof by footprint. So I'm going to click on roof by footprint. It's going to ask me, you have created the roof on the lowest level. Would you like to move it to ground floor? To move it to have it tied to the roof level and click on yes. We also get the modify boundary line for creating, or rather we get the modify tab activated, and in this case we can be able to create a boundary line for our roof. And I'm going to use a line here and start creating the boundaries. So this one is going to move up to there. This is going to move here. The same with let's have this moving to, I think we should get, yeah, right there. That point. Then I want it to move back to where we had started. That's going to close it that way. And if you look at the line, that means we have not given, we have not created any roof overhang for this project. So all I want to do is maybe offset these lines towards the outside by like 600 mm. That way we'll be able to also offset this by the same 600 here. And I also want to offset this towards this side by, that was 1300. Yes. And also offset this towards this side by 600. So I have 600 typed here. So in that case, we have a roof overhang. And if you just want to place that roof, you can click on finish editing mode, and then you'll have the roof in place. So let's go to 3D window, see how that looks. So with that is our roof. Not the very best of what we intended to create, but in this case, we want to have a gable end here and a gable end to the other side, while this side and the opposite side are the ones that are supposed to be at an angle. So in this case, I can just click on that roof, and then I want to edit footprint, and then this footprint is going to take me back to here. So I'll click on this, and what that does is it defines roof slope under properties, and click that so that the roof slope is not being defined by that. And then also come back to the other side and untick that. Then we can come back here, select that, and select this other end. And then we'll have change like the pitch to be 22.5 degrees. Sorry, 22.5 degrees, like that. Then when we are done with the editing, we can finish edit mode, and you will see now our roof gets updated like that. And then we have let's say first So it's saving. Let's try to orbit. Like at the front here, you have the roof like that, but there is an issue here because these walls and these other walls here are not connected to the roof. So how do I connect them to the roof to make sure that we're not having a space in between? All you do is click to select them, and then up here you have an option. Here you have an option under modify walls written here, attach top base or a detach top from base. So all I want to do is click on attach top base, and when that is done, I can click on the roof, and then you'll see that wall move up and attach itself. That will be the case with this wall, like that, and the same with that. Attach top to the base of that roof. Try to orbit around and select that. Attach it to the base of that roof. Select this wall, attach it to the base of this roof, and select this, attach it to the base of this roof, and orbit to the back of the house. We have the same case here with these walls. So all you do is, so we'll repeat the same procedure, selecting this wall, attaching to the base of this roof. So you have the wall selected, click on attach, top to base, and that moves up. You have this, the same operation, and this other one here, you apply the same operation. So that in this case, if you try to orbit, you have our walls moving up well, connected to the roof. Then if you look at these windows here, I think they need to move up by, let's say we could have these as 1200. Let's have 1500, like that. Then have these as 1500 so that it moves up the same height as the other walls. So that is our 3D model. We've done the floor, we've done the ceiling, we've done the roof. And in the next phase of the development of the project, I want us to look at some bits of annotations really, in terms of putting tags, or rather tagging the windows and the doors, and putting dimensions in place. So just to appreciate the level of detail that we have reached for our project, you can see the 3D model that we've created. You can be able to appreciate the ceiling plan that we have. You can be able to appreciate the floor plan that we have created. And all these editings that we have been doing have been getting synchronized to other views, such as the building elevations that we have. Because if you click on the east elevation, you will see now that we have an elevation in place. And I can choose not to show this by selecting one of those grids, right clicking, and then you can see hide elements in view. Let's say we select all of them, because I want the elevation to be cleaner. Right click, say hide in view, hide those elements in view. So this is our east elevation. I also want to, so now, because all we are looking at from the elevation point is the roof level and the ceiling and the ground floor level. We have our east elevation, we have another elevation in place also. getting updated automatically as we work on 2D and 3D. We have the south elevation, the same, and our west elevation also getting updated as we proceed with working on the rest of the 2D and 3D of our project.